All right. Thank you,
Dr. Wendy.
Dennis. All right. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Mitch. Okay. So the next section, it's one of our other top priorities. The priorities of the chamber are not only economy, COVID-19 impacts and recovery. We've got permitting, next homelessness, and then we'll have astronomy as well. So with the homelessness priority, we would like to know what is your short-term and long-term action plan to combat homelessness, specifically in West Hawaii, and how will you accomplish
You
whatever
know,
it is you're setting out to do?
so one of the short-term goals that's already a CIP project that's already being worked on, make sure that project actually moves forward, is to build the homeless shelter. So you can start with housing first, getting chronically homeless people off the streets in an expedited manner. The second part of that, and the longer term part, is to make sure that we have a one-stop shop, so people can get the services for either job training, mental health, drug treatment, or whatever it is that we're going to do at those places. Having been to places like Miami, Florida, that's actually put these things into effect, I've seen that this is very possible to do, and there has been federal funds that we should be running after and trying to get as much federal funds as possible. But homelessness is a symptom of another problem, and that other problem is adverse childhood experiences. The biggest adverse childhood experience we have on our island is domestic violence. Kids coming from homes of domestic violence are much more likely to end up homeless than kids not coming from homes of domestic violence. And so, as far as the homeless and domestic violence, I think we need to be more proactive, work with those agencies, and help support those agencies that deal with both of those issues as much as possible. Furthermore, working with the vets, because we know that a lot of the vets are coming out, and so we helped start the Veterans Treatment Court at the courthouse and with the county as well. We need to make sure that our vets are being taken care of, and we do that by working with some of the other nonprofits. Those are a little bit more long-term solutions.
Nice answer. Thank you. The next question, are you familiar with the LEAD program and its effectiveness in West Hawaii?
Yes, I'm familiar with the LEAD program because the prosecutor's office is part of the LEAD program and helped set that up. Unfortunately, because of COVID, it hasn't really got going to the degree and extent that we need to make it successful as it should be. When I went to Miami last year to visit with their programs, I went with the Judiciary and the Department of Health, and they had a very active LEAD program. And the one thing I learned that's really important to the county is when you have officers trained in LEAD, there are less officer injuries and there are less injuries at the hands of officers. Both of those things cost the county money, and the savings there makes sense to actually promote the LEAD program more than just a grant-funded initiative.
Thank you for that answer. Can you just elaborate so that our participants on the call today just know what LEAD stands for and what it does?
Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion. And so you have a lot of people who are mentally ill, and rather than just arresting them and putting them in jail, they look for different ways of helping them get into programs. And that's why, that second part of the homeless issue, the one-stop shop, is important. We have to have places where we can bring these people to get services and get them on their meds and get their chemicals back in balance in their bodies for a lot of the mental health people.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We would like to have a county position dedicated to homelessness in West Hawaii. How would you make that happen? Or how will you make that happen? How will you make it happen?
Will I make that happen? I would love to make a promise and say, I'm absolutely going to do that. But at the current moment, with the budget that we have, it may have to be through a department that we already have. And I know that Sharon Hirono has been, she's been working with the homeless on both sides of the island. I think we'd have to look at seeing if we can make that possible, especially in light of the current economic situation for the county, because we may have to be, unfortunately, cutting positions rather than adding positions.
Thank you for that answer. And then finally, so the Kona-Kohala Chamber of Commerce and our homelessness task force has been working diligently to address homelessness in our community. And a little bit like Dennis's question, we would like to have a seat at the table about Kukui'ola. You know, there were so many delays. We have been brought to the charrettes and to those group meetings, and there's more delays. There was a strategic plan, more delays, and the funding, as you had mentioned earlier, was in place. Is there any way that you could help us to be a part of that solution?
Absolutely, yes. and you know, I think, you know, one of the things that there's a theme that I've seen throughout this county is that the county has not done a great job in reaching out to the community for their input. And at times when they're asking for their input, it has seemed that the county has not done a very good job of actually listening. So I intend on doing both, listening, including the community in the problem-solving process, and making sure that they have a seat at the table. I think that's imperative moving forward to make positive change.
Thank you.